Generic American Host Mom here. Welcome back to part 3 of the Dear Host Family letter writing series. In this section, we will be talking about your hometown. Now remember, the purpose of this letter is to let us, your potential host family, evaluate whether you will fit in well. And in this section, whether you will fit in well with where we live. As with the previous section, be aware there are a lot of different host families with a lot of different living arrangements. First, some statistics for you. Most host families, due to the nature of needing space for an extra family member and the ability to provide for you for a year, tend to live in suburban or rural settings. It is possible, but fairly unlikely that you will be placed in the middle of a large city. And also, most host families live in single-family residences. And now, on to what to include and what to leave out in your letter. The name of your hometown. It's not particularly relevant and will almost certainly be removed from your letter before it reaches us. So don't take up space trying to put it in there. If you feel particularly proud of your hometown, you can include some subtle clues about where you are from by stating what your nearest city is famous for, but most host families are not going to weigh this information very strongly anyway. Remember, this is a cultural exchange. We want to learn about your part of the world, and that means most of us probably don't know that there was even a 13th century dynasty that made your town its capital, never mind where it was, and certainly not why that is significant. So these pieces of information are fun to read about, and I don't want to discourage you from putting them in there, but we don't need a Wikipedia report because they don't tell us much about you. What is important is what your hometown tells us about the type of lifestyle you are used to. If, for example, you live in a big city and really enjoy the freedom of being able to go anywhere on public transport, then the culture shock of being placed on a large ranch miles from the nearest neighbor, where buses, rush hour sidewalks, street lights, and even traffic lights are replaced with tractors, gravel roads, dark nights, and relying on other people to take you anywhere you want to go. So take some time to think about where you live, how it affects you, what is important to you, and what you are excited to try and what that might be different. And remember, wherever possible, stay positive. For example, if you have a big city background, make sure that comes across in your description, and because there are not many host families in that environment, include an honest evaluation of whether you are excited about living in a less urban environment. Something like, I've always lived in a big city, but I'm excited about the possibility of living in a quieter place for a year. I've always enjoyed visiting my family who live in a nearby small town. We'll support a match with a lot of families. But if you can't see yourself being happy in a rural area, make that clear. But realize that doing so is a negative comment. If you are uneasy in wide open spaces and you think that would spoil your year, then say so, and you'll be less likely to be matched with a rural family who loves the wide open spaces. I've always lived in a busy city and love taking the city buses to go shopping with my friends. I don't like wide open spaces. They make me uneasy, so I would prefer to live in a suburban or urban setting. Conversely, if you live in a rural area, make sure that comes across, along with your desire, if you have one, if you state that I live in a rural mountain area and love the sound of the wind blowing through the grass, then that is likely to resonate with a rural family than a suburban family, but doesn't really suggest a poor fit for a suburban family. If you state that I live in a rural farming community, I visited the city once, but that number of people scared me, then you'll be less likely to be placed in a family living in a busy area, which would be entirely appropriate if that is not what you're looking for. Anyway, Hope this helps with filling in the section about tell me about your hometown. And good luck to you.